everyone. I want to talk about how to build a profitable trading plan, and I have some tips that I'm going to run through really quick in order to help you for this upcoming week. There's going to be a bunch of moves that come up this upcoming week in the market, and I want you to be prepared. So I came up with 5 tips in order for you to be able to be a profitable trader. And if you don't have a profitable trading plan, this is definitely going to help you. So number 1. So the first thing in order to build a profitable trading plan is to figure out which session you are going to trade. And this is really important because I know a lot of us work full-time jobs and it's kind of hard at times to find times to trade. So for instance, when I trade, I like to trade the pre-New York session. And that's basically right before the New York stock market opens. And it's usually about an hour and a half before the New York stock market opens. And then that's when I trade, mainly because I have to go to work. So I want to be able to get into the market beforehand and focus just on trading and not on anything else. So I typically trade during that time. And since I'm mostly on Central Time, what that looks like for me is roughly, I try to get to my charts by 6:30 a.m., really trying to push for 6 o'clock. Sometimes it's a challenge, but basically trying to get to my charts at 6:30 a.m. Central Time. And then I may trade until about 8 o'clock. And then that's when I'm either getting out the door in order to head to work or hopping on my work computer. Because during that time, the market is also gearing up for New York stock market to open, and the volume kind of dies down during that point. So I obviously don't want to be in a market when the volume dies. And if you pick a particular session, then over time, you will see these different things that pop up in the market and will give you pretty much signs and wonders on when you should be in that market. So that's number 1. And number 2, you need to figure out what you want to trade. So typically when it comes to starting any kind of trading whatsoever, you want to pick at least 1 to 2 markets that you want to stick with consistently. And I say this because pretty much when you get to that point, you're essentially reading that market like a book. So if you got the right session or the session that you want to trade, and then also that particular market or 1 or 2 markets that you want to trade, basically what that looks like is over time, you build up a lot of information about what happens during that market. So if you've ever seen somebody say, oh, I knew that was going to happen, it's not necessarily they have a crystal ball. It's because they've been looking at that market for quite a while, and it lets them know what could potentially happen based on what happened in the past. So that's why picking what to trade, at least 1 or 2 markets, is going to help. Now, if you have something like 5 markets, then that's not really going to help because that's just going to be too much for you to try to keep track of. And even in my own trading, I'm always trying to cut down the number of markets that I look at. So gold tends to be a consistent thing. US 30 tends to be a consistent thing. And I do have videos on my YouTube channel talking about that, so go ahead and check out the highlights here on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you know where to go. So anyway, so number 3 is figure out the number of trades that you want to take in that particular session. So typically when it comes to my trading, I typically do 1 to 2 trades and that's in a day. So pretty much if I'm already green, meaning I already made money inside of the market that day, I am not taking any more trades because I don't want to risk giving back my profits to the market when I've already made money. That's another thing that has helped me quite a bit because in the beginning, before I built the trading plan, before I started to follow my rules and actually have rules inside of the market, I used to give so much money back to the market because I'm trying to take a whole bunch of trades, because at that time I had in my mind, the more I traded, then the more money I could make. And to some extent that is true, but it's also not, because that means that the more that you trade, there's more opportunity for you to potentially give money back to the market, and then you end up not being profitable over time. So that was something that I learned the hard way, and that's why now I stick to just 1 to 2 trades per day, and it works out really well. So number 4 is you want to figure out how much money you want to trade per day. So say for instance, if you have a certain amount of money that you want to risk inside of the market. So say hypothetically, if you want to risk maybe $100 per trade and you want to take 2 trades per day, then that's roughly $200 per day. So pretty much giving yourself that limit helps you to not overtrade. Because when I first started, I was literally just throwing money into stuff and didn't really know how much money I was throwing in, and then was losing a lot of money as well. So when I started to cap how much I actually put inside of the market for each trade, then that really helped me reduce the amount of money that I was losing, and then also helped me realize that this wasn't the path to being profitable. So I started off haphazardly entering the market, not knowing what I was doing. And then I got to a point where I was breaking even. So I was like, okay, I'm getting a little bit better. I'm learning something. And then next, what I was doing was continuing to take that information that I learned from breaking even, figuring out what am I doing wrong, and then going from there and then improving. You know, what all this led to was pretty much me becoming profitable and then consistently profitable. So it feels like, at least it felt like for me, it felt like it took forever for me to get out of that break even stage. Well, first get out of that losing stage, and then get out of that break even stage. And then, you know, from there, like I said, it's just consistently profitable from there. So anyway, so these are all the things that I did in order to become consistently profitable. And the fifth thing is you want to know pretty much how long are you going to trade. So earlier I talked about you want to know what session you are looking to trade, but you also want to know how long you're going to trade. Like I said, I trade before work. So for me, that looks like maybe 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours max, and then I'm out the market. So a lot of times what you will find is that moves will happen pretty much after you're out of the market, and you got to be okay with those things happening. You just got to look at it and be like, okay, well, how could I have taken this? How could I have done this a little bit better? I mean, if it's outside of your session or your trading time, you know, that's just the way it is. But at least you have some information going into your next session on how you can look at the market and then anticipate some of the moves that could potentially happen. So pretty much here are the tips that I have in order to build a profitable trading plan. And pretty much when it comes to your trading, hopefully this serves as inspiration for you, because I'm going to be sharing more information on here. So stay tuned. If you're not already following or subscribing, go ahead and do that, and I'll see you later.